Executive Head of Risk and Compliance, Paul Magula has given more evidence on governance issues leading up to his suspension. He's told the Commission of how former CEO Dan Matjila got involved in every deal at the PIC. He also revealed how the institution suffered a loss of up to 500 million rand in the VBS investment. Heidi Giokos is following the story for us. She joins us now live with the latest. So Heidi, Dan Magula, the CEO, had his hand in allegedly everything, every deal. That's something unheard of course. What did Paul Magula say with regards to Matjila's involvement? He especially touched on Matjila being so desperate to have the AO transaction signed.
I mean, those were the words that he used, Shahan, that Dan Matjila was desperate to get the AO technology deal signed. He spoke about how Dan Matjila made sure that he had full knowledge of what was going on at the PIC, specifically with the AO technology deal, and he said this was something that was unheard of. Normally the CEO only has the final sign-off when, for specific deals, but that is even a limited case. And it seemed as though Dan Matjila was in every single deal, having every single say and making sure that certain deals were struck specifically with AO technology. And this is what Paul Magula had to say. Very bad feedback.
Oh, we don't have that soundbite just yet. Let's talk about this then. Steinhoff and VBS also brought up Matjila hell-bent on signing that deal apparently. As head of risk, what did Magula say about the Steinhoff and VBS deal?
So you must remember, Shahan, that the reason why this commission of inquiry was basically established was to try and figure out why the PIC invested, in many cases, billions of rands into specific companies, such as Steinhoff, VBS, and now we've heard AO Technology. But basically, Magula was speaking about how Steinhoff was a very questionable and reckless investment, given the fact that when the Steinhoff corporate crash happened, the PIC actually lost about 5 billion rand because of that deal, which is a lot of money, and it affected government employees' pension funds. Also speaking to the issue of VBS, when VBS also crashed, the PIC lost millions there as well. He said it was between 400 to 500 million rand because the PIC basically gave money to VBS, and VBS was using that as a credit facility and as a slush fund for many executives. So very strong comments coming out from Paul Magula, given the fact that we haven't actually heard much from this inquiry about Steinhoff and VBS.
Yeah, so we do have that clip right now about Paul Magula talking with regards to Dan Matjila being so desperate to have that AO transaction. Let's listen to it.
Performance appraisal is done every year for performance bonuses, for salary increase, down to a point that he had to come from leave to force the meeting to happen to approve the transaction. The questions that come forth with regards to this are, why this desperation even when the senior members of the sanctioning committee, portfolio PMC, are not available? Why should the CEO see it so important that he should come from leave to have this transaction approved? I was surprised when I looked at the January minutes and the matters arising in January 2018 that he did not even chair the meeting, but he was present, and the CFO did chair the meeting. It's quite odd that the CFO has not been suspended together with Fidelis Madavo.
And then, Heidi, of course, Magula got dismissed from the PIC for apparent incompetence, but in his testimony, he says that's rubbish.
Exactly, Shahan. So he actually got quite emotional after he spoke about his dismissal and how that went about. But he's basically saying that he was never involved in any illegal transactions, and the job that he did in terms of the VBS saga and transaction was based on the knowledge that he had received. He went as far as saying that there was a very large misrepresentation about VBS due to the audit reports that they had received from the auditors about the VBS financial standing. But he pleaded innocence, and he was basically saying that he is not guilty, despite the fact that he was dismissed from the PIC because of, they found him guilty of being incompetent and not following his duties and not going according to his duties when it came to that VBS transaction.
All right, we'll leave it right there. ENCA's Heidi Giokos speaking to us from Pretoria.